X-Men 97, Season 1, Episode 3, titled Fire Made Flesh. And this episode, at the beginning, like, last week, it ended with, you know, Moth opening the door and see, like, a clone of, like, another Jean Grey. And, of course, it has to be like, whoa, what's going on? What's happening? And we get answers now. And at the beginning, I was getting into the episode. I was like liking what was happening, good emotional moments, where you have the concept of one is a clone, one isn't, and the one who's walking around is, of course, naturally evinced that they are the actual person. This is the actual. Jean feels like I am Jean. I experience everything. You know, it's like she looks at Star. It's like we just had a child together. I carry your baby for 9 months, for fuck's sake. It's like I am real. I am real. I am real. And you got this some really good, like, when she feels alone and isolated, where she doesn't even feel the X-Men. Even Cyclops himself is like, I don't know what to believe. So she feels isolated by her own partner or husband, partner, or other half. It's, yeah, it's some really good stuff, and then it dives into the horror of this episode, because spoiler alert, apparently the big bad for the season, at least for season 1, is Mr. Sinister, and Mr. Sinister pulls on some good body horror stuff that we mucks with the head and we mucks with it. But then what happens in the episode, I was like, this feels very wash. Like, I feel like the big reveal that happens halfway through this episode, which is spoiler, the Goblin Queen. I was like, that's your mid-end. That should be cliffhanger to guide into episode 4. I feel like they just rushed through this story, rushed through this. Like, I feel like they had so much story here, and they just power in and squeeze it so much, and try to fit into the 40-minute format. I was like, this could have easily be 50, or 2 episodes, and it would just probably fly more better. It had a better pace, because it just felt very boom, 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 and we were finishing, like, when things started to happen, it just all quickly got wrapped up. Like, oh, Mr. Sinister is making the X-Men into a basically a horror movie. And you have, like, yeah, you got Morph, because, like, in season 2, I'm still at, like, halfway through season 2, but season 2 of the original series, Morph was working with Mr. Sinister, so he's a little bit like, so they are at the point of, like, here we go again. And they have experience and know what Mr. Sinister is like and all that. But, like, the idea of, like, Gambit walks in and sees Magneto and Woe making out with each other, which actually I found out is a thing. It is a thing for the comics. It's mainly is from the Age of Apocalypse storyline, and it's just Gambit walking in and seeing these, like, gooey, murky, like muddy versions of Rogue and Magneto just being naked, holding each other in the arms, and like Magneto's like kissing her neck, but it's like, but when he gets away, it's like stuck. That his lips is like stuck onto her neck. It's like, I'm like, that's good body horror. Or, you know, Sunspot is in this episode. Sunspot is dealing with all the pressure and all the bigotry that he experienced from his own parents, his own mother, who's like, you're a mutant freak, how dare you. I'm like, this is a whole episode. Let's do a let's do a full body horror episode. And then the big reveal of this clone Jean, was it Maddie? You know, the clone Jean. It's not the Phoenix this time. It is the Gauntlet Queen, and when we hit the Gauntlet, it's just like, okay, just get it through. Let's get this big action sequence going. Let's get just have fight scene after fight scene, and then like when you have the big team up thing about like let's get our son back, because the whole concept is Mr. Sinister made the clone of Jean. Spoiler here. Made a clone for Jean because he wanted to have like the Summers son, and kind of muck her up and make him like a Frankenstein type thing. Of course, it would naturally lead to Cable. And which I'm kind of curious, will we see Cable by the end of the season? Like it's the whole thing of like, oh, I met. It's like the whole thing of, here's the baby. Now, when the baby comes back, it's a grown-ass adult, and it's Cable with all the Cable stuff with him, and I just like the ending. I quite like. I like thinking about it, but it's just like when it comes to the big action sequences, and when it comes to like the main plot, it's just you just watch through it. Even where you have Jean and the two Jeans together, and they're basically just bickering each other, bickering and fighting, and basically saying like, you're useless. You're not the real Jean. I'm the real Jean. When you're having that should be a big like. And in the mind, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be a mind fight in a way. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. But then it's over. Even though it was quite nice that they used paintings, and all the paintings are like comic covers, so that's kind of neat. Like I spotted like the poster for like for the Dark Phoenix saga with like Cyclops crying, having Jean in his arms, going screaming out. But yeah, I just like hopefully like apparently the next two episodes is a two-parter, which is apparently going to be a adaptation of Life Death, which is a standalone Storm issue, a two-part Storm story, which is going to be quite interesting. I got them all on limited account, so you never know, I might actually read that one, find out what those issues are, and be like, okay, I'll read that, and have comparisons of where we're leaning to and how they handle it. But yeah, this one just it felt like already. I'm like, okay, maybe 11 episodes was the way to go. Maybe it's at the 10 as they have now. But anyway, comment below what you thought of this episode. Let me know your thoughts.